We are currently very much stuck in the sand. Tried to go off-roading just a little bit. Like, the road looks pretty solid. But at some point it got sandy and deep, and so we're trying to go back to the road. But the car is pretty deep down, so in this case, you just have to dig out the wheels a little bit from the soft sand so that they have enough traction. And I will push while Sebastian tries to navigate the car out.
Yeah, that totally didn't work. I had no idea what I was talking about.
We can push it. Do you have something to tie?
Yo, I'm Alex, the solo female backpacker behind Lost with Purpose. I love traveling to countries that most tourists overlook. And in 2019, I ended up road tripping across Saudi Arabia. Now, I know Saudi Arabia isn't exactly the first country that comes to mind when you think road tripping.
That she's been electrocuted, waterboarded.
One of the bodies and the severed head were put on public display.
The killing is an international crime with universal jurisdiction.
Human rights abuses and restricted freedoms aren't exactly hashtag wanderlust.
For human rights activism.
I mean, as a female traveler, I wasn't even allowed to drive in Saudi Arabia until a couple of years ago, let alone road trip across the country. But despite getting stuck in the sand multiple times, a couple of camping fails,
No, you can't camp here because Army is watching.
and nearly being killed by a horny donkey in the middle of the night,
It's coming right at us.
road tripping in Saudi Arabia was actually kind of dope. See, no matter how despotic a ruler or royal family might be, there's always more to a country than meets the headlines. In 2019, with the official introduction of tourist e-visas, Saudi Arabia opened up its doors to tourists for the first time in, well, decades. And I wanted to see it for myself. I spent more than 3 weeks traveling around Saudi Arabia by car. Sometimes I was solo, but to save money, most of the time I was driving with another broke backpacker friend, Sebastian. We had to team up, because Saudi Arabia is a little bit too expensive to be truly backpacker friendly. And the reality is, if you want to travel in Saudi Arabia, you need a car. See, Saudi Arabia is freaking huge, to use a scientific term. And its public transport kinda sucks. Or at least, it's kind of expensive. We rented the cheapest car possible from a local company called Al Wafaq. And it wasn't too bad, actually. A little Chevrolet Spark and a tank or two of gas every day ended up costing us about $25 per person per day. Pretty manageable. I mean, as long as you're sharing with someone. We rented the car in Riyadh and had no frickin' clue what we would do aside from maybe drive south. We ended up driving a massive loop all around Saudi Arabia. Honestly, I didn't really know what to expect from traveling in Saudi Arabia. I mean, I knew Saudi Arabia has deserts for days, but I didn't know what else there was. But after weeks of road tripping all around the country, I learned there's a lot more to Saudi Arabia than just sand. Our road trip started with a taste of Yemeni architecture in Najran, a city on Saudi Arabia's southern border with Yemen. My friend and I ate our weight in fresh fish, and other things, in Jazan, a city on Saudi's Red Sea coast. We lost our heads in the clouds in mountainous Faifa and Abam. In between the rains, that is. I chilled out in Saudi's most liberal city, Jeddah. Gateway to Mecca and a world of its own. I snorkeled through crystal clear Red Sea waters and coral teeming with fish. Just for the record, dressing like this in Saudi Arabia is definitely a bad idea. And illegal.
But I haven't seen anyone in hours.
We skipped over the holy cities Mecca and Medina because non-Muslims aren't allowed in. We camped out in Wadi Disa, a lush canyon hidden deep in the dry desert, and explored everything from shipwrecks to plane wrecks to Nabatean tombs in Saudi Arabia's remote northern Tabuk region. Oh, and we experienced some hospitality. Saudi hospitality ain't half bad.
This is crazy. Not only did they stop us and be like, hey, come and have chai, have coffee, have everything. The guy also gifted us like 10 bajillion kilos of dates. This is the hospitality that Saudi is becoming famous for, whether or not it's is another story, but right now, at least we got hella dates.
But, like any good road trip, my favorite part was just stopping at all the random roadside shit, anywhere and everywhere.
Driving anywhere in Saudi is really difficult because there's so many beautiful places here that aren't even marked on a map. You just have to go and stop and just see what happens.
Another thing that's really chill about road tripping in Saudi Arabia, you can basically camp anywhere you want. Camping is a huge part of Saudi culture, and that extends to wild camping. I camped in my tent for a lot of my road trip. Or at least, I did until a horny donkey came and destroyed my tent one night.
Dude, donkey, what the fuck? Go away, get off my tent. Hey, this donkey ass motherfucker did to my tent. Smashed on the front here. Fucking, I don't even know what happened over here. Ripped the rainfly of the tent.
Sometimes my friend and I had to abandon our crappy car and hitchhike with people who actually had four-wheel drive. But for the most part, Saudi Arabia's roads are so good that even the crappiest little rental car can get to most of the places a first-time tourist might want to go. Really, road tripping in Saudi Arabia was pretty straightforward. The biggest danger of driving in Saudi Arabia is, well, the drivers. Before I let you go, let me be clear. Road tripping in Saudi Arabia isn't for everyone. Saudi Arabia is still an extremely conservative country. Its leaders are responsible for many of the human rights violations that you see on the news.
The coalition is directly violating the laws of war, which prohibit attacks that don't discriminate between civilians and combatants.
The news isn't always exaggerated. You do have to be cautious with what you say and how you dress in Saudi Arabia. Racism is deeply entrenched in Saudi Arabia's social systems. Travelers of color are probably going to have a very different experience from white travelers. Female travelers visiting Saudi Arabia do have to adjust both their behavior and their dress when traveling the country. If you just want a road trip through some pretty desert and have a fun annual vacation, there are other places you can go. There are other countries in the Middle East that are more relaxed and more tourist-friendly than Saudi Arabia. Think Jordan or Oman. But if you want to visit a country few tourists have traveled in recent years, Or learn more about a unique and guarded culture that many in this world know very little about? Well, Saudi Arabia's doors are open.